So people love to tell you that if you're 40 years old and you haven't made it, then it's too late. The ship has sailed and entrepreneurship is for 20-year-old tech boys from Silicon Valley or somewhere like that. But here's the truth. Being 40 plus is actually your unfair advantage. The very things that people think make you weaker actually make you stronger. And in this video, I'm going to break down and show you exactly why starting a business in your 40s is actually an advantage and a good idea. So before we get started, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll do this. So at 40 plus, you've seen things the younger generation haven't seen. You've been working jobs, you've dealt with bosses, you've dealt with customers, you've possibly even led teams. You understand real problems and you know the pain points inside your industry. Now that's absolute gold because all businesses are built on solving problems. Now, for example, my first SaaS failed, but what I gained was insight. I learned that I wasn't solving a big enough problem. Now, not necessarily, but a much younger person, someone in their 20s, for example, might not have ever found that issue and been carrying on building something that wasn't clearly going to work. That's not always going to be the case, but in a lot of the cases, it probably is true. Now, you already have an advantage because all of your years of experience helps you choose better problems to solve. And by the time you've hit 40, it's likely that you've built a lot of connections along the way, and sometimes without even realizing it. Now, your network is absolute rocket fuel for your business. Just have a think about it. Ex-employees, ex-colleagues, ex-bosses, ex-managers, people that you may have met in a conference somewhere like that. That's a hidden gold mine right there. At 20, your network is likely to be some ex-university friends or potentially some ex-colleagues from a part-time job somewhere like that. They don't have the network that you have. They can't tap into decades of connections. They can't ask previous employees or previous managers for feedback or advice or potentially even being their first customer. For example, I know a few people who have started their own online consulting business and they've tapped into LinkedIn and found people that they've either worked with or met along their journey 10 plus years ago, and now those people are either working with them or potentially even a customer of theirs. Again, this is something a 20-year-old will not have. And I know a lot of you will be thinking, I don't have the money to start my own business now. I've got too many other things going on. Most people in their 40s aren't sitting on a pile of venture capital. But here's the thing. That's not actually a weakness. That's actually a strength. Most of us now know how to handle money. We know what debt feels like. We know what risks to take and what risks not to take. We know how to manage things properly. You can fund your side hustle or business a lot smarter with just taking small calculated bets rather than blowing your whole capital on the next shiny thing, which is likely going to do absolutely nothing for your business and bankrupt you immediately. And because you've got bills, kids, and maybe even a mortgage, you don't waste time. Because you can't waste time, okay? Because every hour matters to you, right? That's how it is. So you learn to use your time a lot more efficient rather than, when you're much younger, you had all the time in the world. So, the time thing didn't really matter to you. When I was in my 20s, I wasted shitloads of time, all weekends, playing computer games, going out with my mates, getting pissed, going to parties, going clubbing. Now, because I don't do any of that, every bit of time I put into my business is intentional, okay? Because I know that I don't have that time. The time is very precious to me. I have to be productive within that time that I have available. And I think that's a hidden productivity advantage that younger founders don't have. And now what I think might be one of the biggest reasons is at 40 plus, you failed, maybe in life, maybe in careers, maybe in business, but you're still here. You survived. That's priceless. Business is 80% a mental game. Now, young entrepreneurs are likely to give up at the first major hurdle, whereas you've seen these walls, you've climbed over them, and you've lived to tell the tale. So that means when your business or your SaaS, your digital products, or whatever you're doing doesn't take off on day one, or your YouTube channel and your first ever YouTube video doesn't get any views or subscribers, you don't crumble in a heap and give up. It means that you adapt. That's what real entrepreneurs do. They adapt. Now, here's the kicker. The best time to start wasn't 20 years ago. It's not in 5 years' time. The best time to start is now. Okay, we have some amazing tools available to us now. You have, AI. You have all of the social media outlets, and you don't need millions to get started. You can do this on literally nothing, because I have. I've done it with a few $100 and that's it. Now, combine all of that with your experience, your network, your resilience. You've got a winning formula. You're basically doing this on cheat mode. Okay, you've got the advantage here, not the 20-year-olds, but the people who are in their middle, in the middle of their life with all of that experience. So you have to use that. You have to think like that, and like I say, start this now, not in 5 years' time. The time is now. Okay, so that's about it for this video. One final thought is, please don't waste this opportunity now. You don't have to think like you're too old or you don't have enough money. You're literally in your prime for this. Every failure, every job that you've had is all, it's a lesson learned. It's experience that you can bring to the table others are desperate to hear. So if you feel like you've got some value out of this video, please hit the like button, please hit the subscribe button. I really want you to come on this journey with me, because it's likely you're doing the same thing that I'm doing right now. And drop a comment in the comment section. I'd love to hear what you're working on, what you're doing, and then I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Guys, don't waste this opportunity, okay? You are literally in your prime. You're finally experienced to win. Don't think like you're too old. Just go for it, enjoy it, and I'll see you in the next video.